These days, Fletcher's trip to the butcher shop takes a little longer. He has arthritis and his hearing isn't great, but his sense of smell and direction are still spot on. This is one old dog who doesn't need new tricks, just his daily trip to the butcher shop.
And that's this week's edition of Lola and Louie's Lowdown.
Every day for 10 years, Fletcher goes and gets a bone.
You're going to find a big pile of
News 3 at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5 after this dry winter, the snow making its way into coverage of this winter weather.
An investigation into a body found in Marshall continues. We'll hear from the man who discovered the body.
And Madison police arrest a man for OWI after he crashed into a building last night, what the driver says really happened.
This is News 3 at 5.
Thanks for staying. Finally making its way into southern Wisconsin as multiple counties are under a winter storm warning.
We have team coverage of the weather tonight with Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti, Madeline O'Neill, and Adam Duxter. But let's start with Gary out on the weather patio. Gary?
Well, as you can see, the snow is falling pretty steadily. I just checked about 1.5 inches of accumulation so far here in the backyard, and it continues to fall at a pretty good rate, about 1/2 inch per hour. We have alert days in the forecast for tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Snowfall amounts right now, we're looking at about 2 to 4 inches north of the Dells, about 3 to 6 inches from Madison northward, and from Madison southward about 5 to 8 inches by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow the snow will end, but blowing and drifting snow could be an issue, and it'll be very cold with high temperatures only in the upper teens and wind chills around 0 for much of the day. Sunday will drop to near 0 by early morning with wind chills down to -10 to -20 and high temperatures in the afternoon only in the lower teens. On Doppler track, you can see the snow falling pretty steadily across southern Wisconsin. Those darker bands of blue indicate the heavier bands of snow, and you can see again the snow totals that we're projecting. Heaviest to the south of Madison, but everybody will get some accumulating snow. The lower the visibility, the heavier the snow is falling. Right now, 3/4 of a mile visibility here in Madison, 1/2 mile in Boscobel, and moderate snow, and that will continue through much of the evening hours. Temperatures continue to fall. We're at 17 now in Madison. Winds right now not too bad. They're starting to pick up a little bit out of the northeast at about 15 miles per hour, so that's dropping wind chills to around 0, and those wind chills become more of a factor as the snow comes to an end. By tomorrow morning, look for those temperatures to be in the lower teens. We'll see the snow come to an end and skies will clear out, but our high temperature tomorrow only reaching 18 degrees, and again, blowing and drifting snow could be an issue. I'll have more details in weather in a few minutes.
All right, Gary, thank you. Well, many of us haven't minded this lack of snow so far. Some are now rejoicing as the flakes are beginning to fall.
Yeah, that's right. A slow winter can mean slow work for those in the snow removal business. Our Madeline O'Neill is live on Madison's west side with more. Maddie?
Eric and Susan, as you guys can see, we're definitely starting to get some accumulation here. It's a white covered ground we haven't seen for a while here in Madison. It'll make for a busy night for snow plows, one that some drivers have been hoping for. Barnes does snow removal in the greater Madison area. One manager says the unusually slow winter we've had so far can make it hard on workers hoping to earn a good paycheck. But they've used that time to make sure their fleets of plows are prepared.
All of our trucks are fully fueled and serviced, and they've been double and triple checked, and that's the key, is to be prepared. And when you have enough time like we've had this winter, it makes that pretty easy.
Mike Winkman says just as important as getting the trucks ready is preparing the drivers, who he guesses will be working shifts of 12 to 16 hours tonight. Now, he says he actually enjoys the work. He thinks it's peaceful, and he's looking forward to getting out on the road tonight. He just asks that drivers give plows some extra space and patience, especially on a Friday night when people have plans and the roads are as slick as they are now. As a reminder, it's the plows that are helping you get where you're going.
Yeah, the timing of this is a little tricky with the evening commute tonight, so that's good advice. Thank you, Maddie.
Several Rock County communities have declared snow emergencies for tonight through Saturday afternoon.
Some parts of southern Wisconsin, depending on where you are, could see more than 6 inches of snow. And Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us live from Newville. How are the roads there, Adam?
Well, Eric and Susan, I am in Newville, right along Highway 3990, where the snow is continuing to fall and the traffic is continuing to slow. We'll give you a look into the traffic here. already continuing to slow. Visibility not so great, even from my drive here from Janesville up to Newville, well below that posted speed of 70 miles an hour. That's going to look for you more like 35 to 40 miles an hour. But if you do find yourself on the roads tonight, the guys over at the Wisconsin State Patrol do have a couple pieces of advice. And one of those pieces of advice is to give yourself plenty of time when you're traveling. They say give yourself an extra 15 to 20 minutes to get to the destination that you have to get to. They also say give yourself plenty of room between you and the car in front of you. With the visibility being what it is today, you want to allow yourself plenty of room to stop. But their number one piece of advice, and this should seem like a given, but is simply to slow down.
The biggest thing we like people to do is to slow down. There are people that I can clock with my radar going 80 plus miles an hour, and during adverse weather conditions, we'd like people to slow down.
Ambassador Trooper Hauser told me that here in Rock County, there are some areas that are particularly slippery and can get icy in no time at all. They do say that if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you need help, just to call 911. Even if you feel like it doesn't garner that, they say call 911 and they'll get someone to you to help you. And they also say do stay in your car. If you do stop, do not get out of your car. Stay right into your car until help arrives. We'll continue to be monitoring the roads tonight. We'll join you later on.
All right, you be safe as well. Adam, thank you.
If your plans depend on the weather, make sure you download our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. Stay safe and informed with News 3.
The Dane County Medical Examiner says he will release the identity of a body found in Marshall this afternoon. Authorities will not confirm if a missing Cottage Grove man, Kurt Meyer, is connected to the case. Cottage Grove police were on scene yesterday in Marshall helping with the investigation after Jeff and Sue LaBelle found the body behind their home Thursday morning.
It was scary last night trying to get to sleep.
I still haven't gotten any sleep. I haven't been to sleep at all yet.
They'll say the body looked like it had been thrown, and they believe that foul play may have been involved.
Law enforcement continuing to search for a homicide suspect. A warrant has been issued for 68-year-old Robert Pulvermacher of rural Middleton. Officials say he is a suspect in the death of the man you just saw, 88-year-old Harold Johnson, who was found dead in the Ho-Chunk Casino parking lot Monday afternoon. If you see Pulvermacher, there he is right there. Authorities want you to call 911, and if you do see him and can do so safely, maintain visual contact until authorities arrive. A mistrial was declared for one of 3 men accused in a Fitchburg homicide that left a 20-year-old man dead. Gary Mays was on trial on charges including first-degree intentional homicide, party to a crime, attempted armed robbery by use of a dangerous weapon, and party to a crime and felony murder. Dane County District Attorney Ishmael Ozan says the court declared a mistrial yesterday in that case after the jury failed to reach a verdict. Mays, Joshua McInnes, and Trevon Jackson were arrested March 14th in connection with the death of 20-year-old Julian Patterson.
Madison police are investigating after a teenager crashed into a home and was arrested for operating while impaired.
And tonight, the driver says he wants people to know what he says really happened. He sat down with News 3's Rose Schmidt. She joins us now in studio to explain. Rose?
Yes, well, Madison police arrested 19-year-old Cade Hellenbrand for first offense OWI, possessing drug paraphernalia, and failing to maintain control of his car. But he says there's more to the story.
There are police and fire trucks everywhere.
As Ben Burkett looked outside Thursday evening, he saw a chaotic scene on East Dayton Street and heard firefighters knocking at his door.
They said, "You got to get out here. We're going to evacuate this block immediately." And he said, "You can smell the gas."
The house next door ended up with a sizable dent, put there by Cade Hellenbrand's car.
I blacked out and I crashed into a house and it hit the gas pipe.
Madison police arrested Hellenbrand for operating while intoxicated, impaired. But he says he's had a seizure disorder since 2012, and that is what caused him to crash.
So what happens when I have seizures is I can't mentally focus on anything. I get super dizzy, and I got out of the car and I passed out on the ground.
Officers say they found drug paraphernalia in his car indicating marijuana use. Hellenbrand admitted that he smokes weed to the officers, but says he was not impaired at the time of the crash.
They thought I was under the influence of drugs, and I told them I had a seizure, and they kind of just looked at me, and then they walked out of the car.
He also failed to pass some of the field sobriety tests, but his mom, who's a nurse, says there is an explanation for that.
I felt as though I was meeting a brick wall every time I tried to explain to the officers that A patient who's experienced a seizure is not going to respond to your questions.
They recounted about 10 grand mal seizures he's had throughout his life, but say up until Thursday he had been seizure-free for 8 months, and they thought the disorder was under control through his medication.
I don't plan on driving for a while until I feel fully open and on my pills and everything's good.
And he has a message for the neighbors who live near East Dayton Street.
I was just scared, and I just want to apologize to everybody that I affected last night, that I had to get up at 9:30 p.m. at night and had to deal with that.
Madison police say Hillenbrand did not show any signs of alcohol use, but they brought in drug recognition experts who believe he was impaired at the time. He was issued a citation and has a court date scheduled where he plans to explain that he has a seizure disorder.
All right, Rose Schmidt joining us tonight. Rose, thank you. A Middleton teacher is on leave while the school district investigates an accusation that the teacher used a racial slur. Middleton Cross Plains Area School District spokesman Perry Hibner said the school received a report earlier this week that a Middleton High School teacher used a racial slur during class. Administrators have been interviewing students, and the teacher has been placed on leave. Several similar incidents of teachers using racial slurs in front of and against students in Madison schools have been reported since November, and just this week a substitute teacher was banned from the Madison School District.
A competency hearing will be scheduled for a 10-year-old girl accused of killing a toddler. A number of people shouted and cursed in the courtroom in Chippewa County yesterday. The girl is facing reckless homicide, meaning she must be charged as an adult in Wisconsin. Investigators say the girl dropped 6-month-old Jackson Hunter at a daycare last year. The criminal complaint says the boy hit his head and started crying, and the girl then panicked and stomped on the child's head. Her attorneys are trying to get the case dropped so that she can be tried as a juvenile. They suggested the girl was too young to know that what she was doing was wrong, but the judge didn't buy that.
If I accepted that argument and I said no 10-year-old, especially a 10-year-old with a history of some trauma and perhaps one or more ACEs, simply, doesn't have the mental capacity per se, I think that I would be stepping on the toes of the legislative branch.
The competency evaluation for the girl will happen in the next 30 days.
Portage police are investigating multiple reports of vandalism in the city. The Portage PD posted on Facebook it's investigating vandalism at Pine Meadows Park on Hamilton Street. Police say someone spray painted inappropriate, offensive, and obscene language on the playground, tennis courts, and football shed. If you know anything about that act of vandalism, contact Portage Police or Columbia County Crime Stoppers.
Crews worked to fix a water main break on a 136-year-old Madison main. Madison police said the incident happened just before 5 this morning and forced a closure of East Gorham from North Blair Street to North Pinckney Street. 4 hours later, one lane of traffic was reopened. The break affected parts of the Dane County Jail on West Doty Street. The Dane County Sheriff's Office said inmates were provided jugs of drinking water while the water was shut off. The main was installed in 1882, the first year that Madison had a water system.
More to come on News 3 at 5. Up next, the government shutdown continues. The fight between the House Speaker and the President escalates. What action he is taking now.
And new reports have surfaced that President Trump instructed his personal attorney to lie to Congress.
And a gain of more than 300 points for the Dow to close the week on Wall Street, up 336 1/4. NASDAQ jumps almost 73. S&P 500 up 35. We'll be right back. The Trump administration is clamping down on all congressional travel until the government is reopened.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi accused the president of irresponsible behavior when he publicly announced in a letter that her trip to visit U.S. troops in Afghanistan was postponed.
You never give advance notice of going into a battle area. You just never do.
The president's letter went on to say if you would like to make your journey flying commercial, that would certainly be your prerogative. The Office of Management and Budget released a memo saying in light of the shutdown, no government aircraft can be used for delegations without written permission from the White House Chief of Staff.
The new chairman of the House Intelligence Committee is vowing to investigate a new report that says President Trump instructed his personal attorney to lie to Congress. Michael Cohen admitted last November he lied to Congress when he said talks to build a Trump tower in Moscow ended 6 months earlier than they actually did. Now, BuzzFeed is reporting that special counsel Robert Mueller has uncovered evidence that the president personally instructed Cohen to lie.
That's absolutely ridiculous. I think that the president's outside counsel addressed this best and said in a statement earlier today that's categorically false.
Clearly, Mr. Cohen has got a checkered history, so let's see what was really the case.
Cohen is scheduled to testify before Congress next month. The White House says a second face-to-face meeting between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will take place next month. The announcement came after an hour-and-a-half-long meeting between the president and North Korean negotiator Kim Yong-chol. Vietnam is a likely location for this next summit. The White House says details will be announced at a later date.
Let's head out to the weather patio now. Gary is watching the weather, and the snow continues to fall.
Sure does. It's a steady snow. I mean, it's not particularly heavy, but it is steady snow, and so far we've picked up a little more than 1.5 inches here in the backyard, and it's falling at the rate of about 1/2 inch per hour. So we have alert days in the forecast for tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. Snow locally heavy at times tonight. Total snow accumulations by morning, 2 to 4 inches up north, up toward the Dells, 3 to 6 inches from just north of Madison through, say, Columbia County, and then 5 to 8 inches from Madison southward down to the Illinois state line. The heaviest amounts might end up near the Illinois border. The snow will end early tomorrow, but blowing and drifting snow may be an issue as winds pick up. That'll also bring in very cold conditions with highs in the upper teens for tomorrow. Wind chills around 0 for much of the day. And then low temperatures will drop to around 0 on Sunday morning as skies clear out. And wind chills could drop to 10 to 20 below 0 by early on Sunday morning. Sunday's high temperatures will only reach the lower teens. And there's a graphic showing what we think right now as far as the snowfall totals are concerned. And you can see on Doppler track the large area of snow. That brighter blue band is where the heaviest snow is, right about from Madison, but it continues right along the Iowa-Minnesota state line. So it'll snow pretty steadily for a while here. Visibilities, the lower the visibility, the heavier the snow. And you can see right now the lowest visibility is right in Des Moines, Iowa, now reporting a 1/4 mile visibility and heavy snow there, but here in Madison, 3/4 mile visibility. Winter storm warnings in effect from Madison southward and westward through much of southern Minnesota and into Iowa. There are winter weather advisories just north of Dane County for slightly lesser amounts of snow. Computer models now in pretty good agreement. The RPM computer model, our day-to-day forecast model, showing about 3.5 to 5 inches of snow from Madison southward. The European computer model has come up from about 3 inches yesterday to about 6 inches today. And the GFS computer model, the U.S. computer model, pretty close to 6 inches in and around Madison. So that gives us pretty good confidence that that's what we'll see for tonight. Now, another storm system will affect us as we head into Monday night and Tuesday and could bring additional snow accumulations. Live view from the Edgewater Sky Cam in downtown Madison. You can see the snow falling pretty steadily there. High today 26, the low at 14, so a pretty normal day temperature-wise. Right now we're at 17, winds out of the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour, drop the wind chill to 2, and those winds as they pick up will also cause some issues with blowing and drifting snow. The main part of the storm system coming together pretty rapidly over the last 12 hours. You can see how the snow has been breaking out from Wisconsin back westward into Minnesota and Iowa. To the south, there's some rain in the warmer air, but the main part of the storm system is still back in Texas and Oklahoma. What we're getting is what we call overrunning, where the air is lifted up over that stationary front across southern Iowa. That will actually be the first part of the storm The main part of the storm will track far enough to the south so that as that colder air wraps into it, there'll be much heavier snow amounts to the east. But here, it'll be enough to give us, probably our biggest snow, at least for much of our viewing area for the season so far. Look at the difference in temperatures. Near 50 in southern Missouri, 10 below zero right now in International Falls, Minnesota. Compared to 24 hours ago, you can see how those temperatures are definitely dropping to the west. So we'll be seeing much colder weather as we head into the next few days. So our forecast includes that winter storm warning until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning for Dane County and areas to the west. To the east of Dane County, those warnings run until noon tomorrow, and then to the north, those darker blue shaded areas are winter weather advisories. Low of 13 for tonight. The snow probably tapering to flurries by early tomorrow morning, but the winds will pick up. We could see some blowing and drifting snow. Skies will actually turn sunny tomorrow afternoon with a high of 18. Future track, steady snow overnight. You can see that's through early tomorrow morning, and then the snow will taper to flurries. Skies will turn partly sunny, but the brisk winds will cause some blowing and drifting snow. And then with clear skies tomorrow night, those temperatures really drop off to around 1 degree above zero by Sunday morning with wind chills to -20. Sunday, there could be a couple of flurries in the afternoon, but high temperatures only in the lower teens. And again, 5 to 8 inches from Madison southward, 3 to 6 inches north, a little lesser amounts north of the Dells. 7 to 10 day forecast, those temperatures will stay low for Sunday and Monday. Come back up as we see some snow from late Monday into Tuesday with several inches of accumulation possible there. And then more cold weather after that with some snow chances perhaps Sunday of the following weekend. As we take a look at first alert traffic, it is a mess out there. It's a Friday. The snow is falling. That's the live view from the DOT camera at the Beltline and Fish Hatchery Road. We're seeing delays right now in both directions on the Beltline, basically between Middleton all the way to I-3990. Right now, a 48-minute trip eastbound on the Beltline from University Avenue to the interstate, 44 minutes back in the westbound direction. So that's about 3 times the normal speed. Heading out of Madison, a little more than a half hour now to Janesville on I-3990, 26 minutes to Sauk City on US 12, and 23 minutes to Sun Prairie on US 151. That's your first alert traffic.
All right, thanks, Gary.
Ahead at 5, incredible video as a group of researchers and photographers capture images of a great white shark. It's a big one, the story, when we come back. A rare find off Hawaii is captivating shark lovers all around the world.
Divers are sharing incredible videos after a once-in-a-lifetime encounter with one of the biggest great white sharks on record. As Carter Evans shows us, the pictures are attracting crowds and prompting warnings from wildlife experts.
Gracefully appearing from the deep and dwarfing nearby divers, the shark affectionately named Deep Blue is one of the largest great whites ever documented. Marine biologist Ocean Ramsey, seen here swimming with the shark on Tuesday, is still in awe.
Never would have imagined that a massive, beautiful great white, looks like she's pregnant female, would swim up.
Deep Blue was first spotted this week feeding on a dead whale. She's estimated to be more than 20 feet long, weighing about 2.5 tons. Ramsey says she documented her encounter to change the public perception of sharks.
The message I really hope to get across with these beautiful images and video to show that they aren't the mindless man-eaters that they're so often portrayed as in media, like the movie Jaws. They deserve a high level of respect and they need protection.
Deep Blue is so famous, she has her own Twitter page. And cameras capture her every move whenever she decides to make a special appearance. Wildlife photographer Kimberly Jeffries, who took these new photos of the shark, says shots like these are especially rare because great whites are naturally reclusive creatures.
Their habits are so different from ours, you know, like they make these really deep dives during the day and then come up to the surface briefly, so it's no wonder we don't see them.
But since these latest images hit the internet, the shark's new feeding ground is attracting amateurs who want to get up close and personal to the great white.
I would strongly advise against people purposely jumping in the water with a great white shark.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Stay with us. Another check of the forecast in just a moment.
A lot more snow to come.
Yeah, it's snowing pretty steadily out there right now. You can see on Doppler track the snow over all of southern Wisconsin. The darker blue shades of color there from, say, southern portion of Dane County to south of Dodgeville. That's where the heaviest snow is. Visibility is right now running about 3/4 of a mile. Some places down to about a half mile in moderate snow. But those are the final totals that we're looking at. 5 to 8 inches south of Madison, lesser amounts to the north.
More updates on News 3 at 6. The CBS Evening News is next.